like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. Once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. 5 things WWE needs to do to boost ratings. Number 5. More wrestling. This seems like a pretty ridiculous suggestion for how a wrestling company should improve its ratings, but WWE really needs to feature more wrestling on a weekly basis, with the show spending too much time focusing on promos and interviews. While it's crucial to have wrestlers develop their characters and storylines through backstage segments and in-ring promos, it's still important to have a healthy amount of in-ring competition on every show. After all, the reason that people tune in each week is because they enjoy professional wrestling, yet both Raw and SmackDown barely features any of it. And when it does, the matches tend to be kept as short as possible. There's a reason why companies such as All Elite Wrestling and New Japan are thriving right now, because they focus on wrestling and having high quality in-ring action tell the stories. Even NXT has managed to find the happy balance of wrestling and storyline building, and that shows improving on a weekly basis, which is why it's important for the main roster shows to follow. Number 4. Make matches mean something. While WWE needs to feature more wrestling on its product on a weekly basis, just simply putting matches out there for no reason can be just as damaging as barely having any matches in the first place. This is one of WWE's biggest problems right now. When matches do take place, they often mean absolutely nothing, with creative often seemingly throwing people onto the show in the ring for the sake of it. There's a reason why the WWE universe is struggling to invest into the characters, because wins and losses do not truly matter. Ricochet was recently beaten by Robert Roode on Raw, yet the week after he was announced for the Money in the Bank ladder match, yet Roode was not. It's situations like this that do not make sense, because WWE doesn't invest anything into what actually happens with the matches, with no continuity or care. The company isn't giving the fans a reason to care about who wins and loses, and that means nobody's being emotionally invested in, which is a big problem that must be changed. Number 3. Make the Superstar Shakeup a bigger deal. WWE decided to have the Superstar Shakeup take place very quickly after WrestleMania, which was a big risk, as the company wasn't able to finish up telling a lot of the storylines that they had invested time into for the grandest stage of them all. However, it was quickly made clear that WWE had no real long-term plan when it came to the shakeup, and it feels like something the company has just done on a whim, drawing names out of a hat and hoping it works. WWE moved talents and then continued to move them even after the shakeup had supposedly ended, rendering the entire thing pointless, which was made even worse when Vince McMahon introduced the incredibly confusing wildcard rule. The shakeup should have been made a much bigger deal, with the company pushing the new hot feuds that could happen with fresh matchups. Yet instead we have Roman Reigns returning to Raw for no real reason, and things feel as stale as ever. WWE has a very slim amount of time to change things now, with the shakeup having already been established. But if the company is quick and smart, they might just be able to salvage the situation. Number 2. Free the commentary booth. While it's important for the wrestling and the superstars to feel like a bigger deal on the show, with more wrestling and a focus on the talent themselves, to allow the fans to invest, it is also crucial to have a good soundtrack to all of the action. This means having a fantastic commentary team that's able to convey tons of emotion and make everything feel like it means something, rather than sounding like a robotic carbon copy on a weekly basis. It is very easy to see the fact that Vince McMahon is feeding people lines, and it just doesn't sound natural at all. When you compare how Jim Ross or even Vince himself used to sound on commentary, things have certainly changed, and not for the better. If Vince could allow the commentators to have a little more freedom, their natural calls and reactions may just help the fans watching at home buy into what they're seeing. Number 1. A cohesive story throughout the show. While there are many issues with the Attitude Era that many nostalgic wrestling fans like to gloss over, one thing that WWE did well was keeping a cohesive and consistent storyline throughout each show. There would be stories involving main event talent that would interweave throughout the show, linking different wrestlers and different rivalries, which would help make everyone feel like a bigger deal, in turn enhancing the entire product. Instead now, everything is kept separate, while the show is simply a pain by numbers, with the only changes being who's involved in each segment. Every week the show opens with a promo leading to the main event of the night, with other similar beats taking place, making the show feel stale and predictable. On top of that, WWE's continuity has been a major problem, to the point where Fox has reportedly complained about the lack of continuity, with the company just forgetting previous promos or matches because it's easier than telling a more complex story. Television has become more complex and audiences demand more, which is why AEW thrives with the long-term storytelling through its YouTube shows, and should be the perfect example to WWE as to why the company needs to change its focus. What improvements would you like to see for the WWE product? Let us know in the comment section below.